Stop being too available. Do this instead. There is a silent mistake. One that feels like kindness, but is slowly destroying your value. No one tells you this directly. On the surface, it looks like a virtue. You respond fast, you make time, you adjust, you understand. You give without being asked twice. And for a while, it works. People like you, they feel comfortable around you. They open up. They rely on you. But then something shifts. Subtly, quietly, almost invisibly. The respect fades. Their effort drops. The energy becomes one-sided. You wonder, what changed? Nothing changed. Except one thing, you became too available. Most misunderstand human psychology. They believe attraction, connection, respect comes from giving more. But that's not how the human mind works, not at the deeper level. The mind measures value not by what is given, but by what is limited. Think carefully. What is always available is rarely appreciated. What is easily accessed is rarely respected. What requires no effort holds no psychological weight. This is not cruelty or manipulation. This is structure. There is a quiet, invisible principle always operating. The scarcity principle, not just in economics, but in attraction, relationships, human perception itself. When something is constantly available, the mind stops registering its presence as special. It becomes background, expected, normal, and eventually ignore it. Here's the part no one tells you. The more emotionally available you are without boundaries, the more you train people to value you less. Not because they are bad, but because the human psyche adapts quickly at first. Your attention feels like a reward, then it becomes comfort, then it becomes expectation, then entitlement. And once entitlement enters a relationship, respect quietly exits. You start noticing small things. They take longer to reply. They cancel more eyes. They stop asking how you feel. They assume you'll always be there. And you start giving even more, trying to fix the shift, trying to return things to how they were. But that only deepens the problem, because now you are no longer valued for who you are. You are valued for what you provide. Attention, validation, emotional support, stability. You become predictable. And predictability, in the psychological realm, kills attraction, kills curiosity, kills tension. Let me say something most people are afraid to admit. People don't chase what they already have full access to. They don't think about it. They don't invest in it. They don't fear losing it. And without the possibility of loss, there is no urgency. Without urgency, there is no effort. This is why you can be kind, loyal, supportive, present, and still be taken for granted, because none of those traits matter if they are unconditional and constant, without structure. This is where many people confuse love with availability. They think, if I'm always there, they'll value me more. But the unconscious hears something different. It hears, you don't need to earn access to me, and once access is free, investment disappears. Now, here's the deeper truth, and this is where it becomes uncomfortable. Your availability is not just behavior. It is a signal that says, I will adjust for you. I will prioritize you. I will wait. I will stay, even if you don't choose me fully. And the human mind always responds to signals. Not words, not intentions. Signals. So, even if you never say it out loud, your behavior communicates it clearly, and people act accordingly. This is why you can feel ignored, unchosen, emotionally drained, even when you're doing everything right. Because what feels right emotionally is often wrong psychologically. Now here's where it gets even more dangerous. Over time, you don't just become available to others, you become unavailable to yourself. You start ignoring your own needs, suppressing your own boundaries, adjusting your time, your energy, your emotions, just to maintain connection. And slowly, without realizing it, you lose your center. This is not love. This is self-abandonment, disguised as loyalty. And the most painful part, people don't respect what you abandon in yourself. They mirror Italiano. If you don't value your time, they won't. If you don't protect your energy, they won't. If you don't prioritize yourself, they won't. Because again, they're not responding to your words. They are responding to your pattern. This is the hidden cost of being too available. You don't just lose attraction. You lose positioning. You move from chosen to optional, desired to convenient, valued to expected. And once you become expected, you are no longer appreciated. Now here is the question most people avoid. If being available is not the answer, then what is? Do you become cold, distant, detached, uncaring? No, that's the mistake people make. They swing from one extreme to the other, from overgive to emotional shutdown. But power is never found in extremes. It is found in control, and what you need is not less care. It is structured availability, a form of presence that is calm, selective, intentional, and never desperate. But to understand how to do that, you must first understand something deeper, something most people never see. Why people are not attracted to availability, but to controlled access. And once you see this, you will never interact the same way again. In the next part, we're going to break down why people chase what they can't fully have, why distance creates attraction, and the exact psychological shift that turns you from available into irreplaceable. The psychology of controlled access. There is something strange about human nature, something that doesn't seem logical, but shows up in every relationship, every interaction, every attraction dynamic. People say they want consistency. They say they want someone who is always there, someone reliable, predictable, available. But watch what they actually respond to, not what they say, what they feel, because what they feel is drawn towards something else entirely. Not full access, but partial access. Not constant availability, but controlled presence. This is the paradox most people never understand. People don't value what is always there. They value what they could lose. And this is where attraction begins. Not in comfort, but in tension. Not anxiety, not games, but psychological tension. The kind that makes someone think, wait, I don't fully have them. That single thought changes everything. Because now you are no longer predictable. You are no longer guaranteed. You are no longer something they can mentally check off. You become engaging. Let me explain this in a way most people miss. The human brain is wired to focus on uncertainty, not chaos, but incomplete access. When something is fully known, the brain relaxes, stops tracking, stops investing. But when something is partially unknown, the brain locks in. It thinks about it more. It replays interactions. It analyzes behavior. It becomes engaged. This is why people obsess over unanswered messages, mixed signals, unexpected distance. Not because they enjoy it, but because the brain is trying to resolve uncertainty. Now here's the difference between manipulation and power. Manipulation creates confusion. Power creates clarity with boundaries. And what you are learning here is not how to confuse people, but how to stop overfeeding them access. Because overfeeding access kills tension. And without tension, there is no psychological pull. Let me say something that might challenge you. Attraction is not built on comfort alone. Comfort maintains, but tension creates. And when you are always available, there is no tension. There is no question, no curiosity, no pursuit, just presence. And presence without structure becomes invisible. Now think about your own behavior. When do you value someone more? When they are always there, or when their presence feels chosen? That's the difference. Availability says, I'm here no matter what. But controlled access says, I'm here. When it aligns, that subtle shift changes your entire psychological position, because now your presence is not automatic. It is intentional. And intention creates weight. Now let's go deeper. There are 3 psychological triggers that create attraction. 1. Selective attention. When you give attention to everyone equally, it has no value. But when your attention is selective, it becomes a reward. Not because you're playing games, but because you are not overextending yourself. People begin to feel, if I get their attention, it means something. And meaning creates emotional investment. 2. Emotional self-containment. Most people leak energy. They over-explain, over-give, and when you do that, there is nothing left to discover. But when you are emotionally self-contained, you create depth, not coldness, but grounded presence. You feel, but you don't spill. You care, but you don't chase. You engage, but you don't attach instantly. And that creates something powerful. Respect, because people sense you are not easily moved. 3. Unpredictable consistency. This is the one almost nobody understands. You're consistent in your values, but not predictable in your availability. You don't disappear randomly. You don't play hot and cold, but you also don't respond instantly every time. You don't rearrange your life on demand. You don't make yourself constantly accessible. Your presence feels stable, but not guaranteed, and that balance creates attraction without chaos. Now here's where most people go wrong. They think this means reply slower, act distant, pretend not to care. No, that's surface-level behavior. What actually matters is your internal position, because people can feel it. If you delay replies but still feel desperate, they sense Italiano. If you act distant but are emotionally attached, they sense Italiano because behavior can be faked, but energy cannot. And attraction is not built on what you do. It's built on what you project without speaking. So what should replace availability? Not distance, not coldness, but self-priority. A quiet internal shift that says, my time matters, my energy matters, my presence is not automatic. And once that becomes real for you, you won't need to act differently. You will be different, and people will feel it immediately. You will notice they invest more, they initiate more, they respect your time more, they become more aware of your presence. Because now, access to you is not assumed. It is experienced, and anything that must be experienced holds more value than something that is always there. This is the shift from being liked to being felt, from being available to being chosen, from being present to being valued. But there is still one final piece, because understanding this is not the note. You need to know how to apply it without becoming cold, distant, or fake. In the final part, we're going to break down exactly what to do differently, how to set boundaries without losing connection, and how to become someone people don't take for granted again. The shift that makes you irreplaceable. Now we get to the part most people skip. Not theory, not psychology. Application. Because understanding why availability kills attraction means nothing if you don't change how you move. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. You don't fix this by doing more. You fix this by removing what weakens your position, not adding, subtracting. Because right now, your problem isn't that you lack value. It's that you're overexposing it, and anything overexposed loses impact. So let's make this simple. There are 5 shifts that change everything. Not surface tricks, but internal recalibrations that affect how people experience you. 1. Stop instant availability. This is the first addiction. And yes, it's an addiction. The urge to reply instantly, to always pick up, to always be there. It feels like responsiveness, but psychologically, it signals low scarcity. You don't need to delay artificially. You need to stop interrupting your life for others. If you're working, stay working. If you're resting, stay resting. If you're focused, stay focused. Respond when it fits your rhythm, not when it fits their demand. That one shift repositions your entire presence. Because now you are not reacting, you are choosing, and choice creates value. 2. Stop over-explaining yourself. This one quietly destroys respect. When you explain too much, you communicate something without realizing it. I need you to understand me, so I feel okay. And the moment you need validation, you lose authority. You don't need to justify why you're busy, why you didn't respond, why you chose something else. Simple is powerful. I was busy. I had other priorities. I couldn't make it. That's enough. The more you explain, the more you lower your position. Because power is not loud. It is clear and contained. 3. Stop rewarding low effort. This is where most people sabotage themselves. Someone gives you minimal attention, inconsistent effort, half interest, and you respond with full energy. You reply fast. You engage deeply. You try harder, and without realizing it, you are training them. You are teaching them. This level of effort is enough to keep me. And once someone learns that, they will never give more. Not because they're evil, but because the standard has been set. So, change the standard. Match effort, not emotion. If they invest, you invest. If they pull back, you don't chase. If they show inconsistency, you don't compensate. You observe, and you respond accordingly, because attention is a reward, and rewards should not be given blindly. 4. Reclaim your time as priority. Your time is your real value, not your personality, not your kindness, your time. And when you treat your time as flexible for everyone else, people treat you as flexible. You become easy to access, easy to cancel, uneasy. But when your time is structured, people feel Italiano. You don't say, anytime works for me. You say, I'm available at this time. That subtle shift turns you from an option into a schedule. And schedules are respected. Options are not. 5. Become comfortable walking away. This is the final shift, and the most powerful one, because everything else falls apart if you lack this. If you cannot walk away, you will always overextend, always overgive, always overstay. And people sense that. They feel when you are afraid to lose them, and that fear removes your leverage. But when you are okay with losing access, something changes. You stop tolerating low effort. You stop chasing attention. You stop negotiating your value. And in that moment, you become dangerous in the best way. Not aggressive, not cold, but unavailable to disrespect. And that is what creates real attraction, because now your presence is not something people assume. It is something they earn. Let's bring this all together. Being too available is not kindness. It is unstructured access. And unstructured access destroys value. What you need is not distance. It is discipline. Not less care, but controlled presence. Because the moment you shift from, I'm always here, to I'm here when it aligns with me, everything changes. People feel Italiano. Respect increases. Effort increases. Awareness increases. And most importantly, you stop losing yourself in the process, because this was never just about attraction. It was about self-respect, disguised as availability. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. So the next time you feel the urge to, reply instantly. Over-explain, overgive, overstay, and ask yourself, am I choosing this, or am I afraid to lose them? Because that answer will tell you everything. And when you finally start choosing yourself, you'll notice something strange. You don't have to chase attention anymore. It starts coming to you. Not because you changed who you are, but because you stopped giving it away for free.